Hey everybody! Well, I went to see Captain Marvel last night, and so I thought I would give you all my thoughts on it. I haven't watched any other reviews about it yet. I'll watch some later on today, so this is my opinion uncorrupted by any other views that have been put out there. Okay, first of all, to all of you guys out there that said this movie was going to be ruined because of its SJW agenda. Y'all are out of your damn minds. There is absolutely nothing in this movie that could be conceived of as part of the SJW agenda being thrown in the face of the audience. You all played yourselves. You got yourselves all worked up over nothing. Nothing. You got yourselves all bent out of shape because Marvel said that this was a feminist film, and in your mind you have this distorted image of feminism that you imposed on this movie. And yes, this is a feminist film, but how does it manifest? It manifests in having women characters that know what they are doing. They have emotional range and they kick some ass. There are female heroes and villains in this film, as well as male heroes and villains. Men aren't denigrated and women aren't deified. Now, if you boys ever get around to watching this movie, and now I'm speaking directly to the guys that commented on my last video, if you watch this film on Netflix or whatever, you're gonna say, huh, that's what the fuss was all about? Because you boys got played. And by the way, I say boys because I've heard a lot of feedback over the last several days about my statements in my last video. A lot of you said that I was falsely saying that this was men criticizing the film. You said there were lots of women criticizing the film, a lot of real feminists that are going after it. But I have to say, of the 1,100 comments I got, not one user identified themselves as a woman or a feminist. So you might think that your tent was inclusive because of the 20 or so critics. You saw 5 that were women, but that doesn't represent the movement. 2 out of 5 band members might be women, but if 99% of those going to the concerts are dudes, then that band is about dudes. And that's not even getting into your flawed claim that if women are making the same criticisms, then the criticism can't be sexist. You guys have no problem calling Larson a racist even though she's white. And since you guys were so into sending me links to research, maybe you guys can look into cool girl syndrome. That seems to explain a lot of what I see coming out of some of the links of women critics that you sent me. Anyway, back to this movie. There are no references to women being better than men, and men are not made out to be bad. There are a couple of montages of Danvers being taunted by men or boys for trying to do what they're doing, but the situations are actually authentic. And there is one and only one moment of a man making a stereotypical sexist comment, one, by the way, that many of you made about the first trailer, and that comment was brushed off. Just brushed off. If this was the SJW agenda-driven men bad movie that you thought it would be, there would have been mad retribution at that moment. It would have been a setup so they could just knock it down. But that didn't happen. The comment was brushed off. So on the whole, getting angry because it's a feminist movement and how dare they shove their agenda blah 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 side of things, you look like fools. Because if the feminism in this film bothers you, you got issues, son. But more than anything, you bought into a narrative that was being fed to you by people that have their own agenda. And that's pretty sad. As for the movie itself, it's actually pretty good. Not up there with the top Marvel films, but solidly in the middle of the pack. The characters and cast are good, even though many don't get enough screen time. The chemistry between Danvers and Fury and Maria Rambeau and Jude Law's Jan Rog is great. The humor is good, but it's not overly jokey. The fight scenes are well done and Larson can sell it, but they could learn from Winter Soldier and back up a little bit with that camera and capture the flow of the battles a little bit better. There were times when it was striving to be more epic than it actually was, and it didn't really pull that off. For me, it was mostly the outer space action. I think that's partly because they didn't have the time or take the time to establish the scale of things in this universe. Unlike the way Guardians of the Galaxy did with its well-established shots and the production design that built a sense of alienness and mass to things. Larson is great. She's fully believable as Captain Marvel. She actually comes across as someone that can hold that kind of power. She portrays Danvers as a fleshed out person with a range of emotions. And Larson, being a good actress, does it really well. There's a moment when she and Fury are looking through old records, and up to that moment, Danvers had really been obviously in charge of her world. And then a moment comes when she is shaken by what she sees. And it's a moment we've all seen others grow through, where they have to keep up the facade of strength, but the fact that they are shook bleeds through anyway, and Larson nails it in a way only a good actor could. Some might be concerned about her being too OP at the end of this film, and she is pretty powerful, I have to say. But just as with the other overpowered characters in the MCU, say Thor or Doctor Strange, the way the character uses the power limits her. I'm not concerned about her being too OP and ruining Endgame. Okay, to sum up, even though I really enjoyed Captain Marvel and will be seeing it again in the theater, and I have not seen all the MCU films twice in the theater, I wouldn't put it in the same class as Infinity War, which I saw 3 times in the theater, Civil War 3 times, Winter Soldier twice, or Black Panther 5 times in the theater. Concerns that an SJW agenda would ruin this film were utterly unfounded, and after you guys see this film, you should be embarrassed that you kicked up so much dust about it. You said that if Marvel keeps making films with agendas like this one, the MCU is doomed? You're wrong. If Marvel lets unfounded rage of so-called fans like you stop them from making films with well-rounded characters like this one, then the MCU is doomed. And it will be your fault. Yeah, that's it. So, agree or disagree, put your comments below. If you like this video, please share, like, and subscribe, and I will see you again soon. Take care.
That's my job! That's what I do! I don't lose! I win! I win! Is there no one on this planet to even challenge me?
Maybe you came by to congratulate me on last night's victory.